Namaste, hi. There's a small conversation I came across the other time between the brain and the anxiety aspect of the mind. The brain tells, hey, I'm having a wonderful day. And anxiety comes in and says, wait a minute, I will search a problem for you. We all have been here and we understand this energy, that whenever there is a sense of optimism in us, the pessimistic energy always comes up and pulls us down. And anxiety, fear, greed, these are all those pessimistic energies. Whenever this happens, there should be a string of further conversations between the mind and brain that could help us overcome this moment when we are pulled down, moment of anxiety. And that anxiety, when it pronounces itself, we should have this small conversation where the mind speaks to anxiety, saying, hello anxiety, I know you have sprung up, but why don't you take a back seat? Why don't you relax? Why don't you come back? And anxiety is definitely going to respond saying, I'm sorry, I cannot. I'm all powerful. And once I have let my energies loose, it is going to manifest in a manner that is going to disorient the person in whom I exist. And therefore, I'm powerful. The mind should in return speak and say, listen, oh anxiety, you're just a limb of mine. I have other limbs like greed, fear, uncertainty, but I have also other limbs like peace, stability, poise, focus. So you're just a limb. And telling this, asserting its prowess over anxiety, the mind is supposed to have this dialogue with it. When it does that, anxiety is definitely going to bring about a defensive mechanism out of it, and it is going to say, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. My energy is such that once I have triggered, I am going to spiral. The mind should acknowledge it in a sense of calmness, and the mind should speak to it saying, yes. But remember, anxiety, the only reason why you continue to exist in this energy is because the brain hasn't analyzed you. The brain hasn't observed you. The mind should remind anxiety that, oh anxiety, you're just an aspect of me which is designed in the human genetic system to trigger a sense of caution, to trigger a sense of planning that would be required for the brain's survival. Once anxiety hears this, anxiety is going to look back and say, yes, of course, you're right. This is what I'm supposed to do. And the only reason I function so predominantly in a person and create havoc in him is because I have not been observed. I'm trying to say something, but I have not been analyzed. I request the brain to analyze me, O mind. And the mind is supposed to say, yes, I have already sent this trigger suggestion to the brain saying that the anxiety that has sprung up requests you to analyze it. But oh anxiety, I request you to step back, because unless you do not step back and unless the brain doesn't have peace and a sense of clarity, it cannot look into you. So, oh anxiety, please step back a bit and allow the brain to function. The brain will do miraculously well if it believes this, that anxiety is only a function and it has other functions, and the direct way to deal with anxiety is to analyze it, is to observe it. To observe this force, we may need help, we may need some sort of suggestions that we can get from others, but anxiety is a power that requires or that can be dealt with directly only with the power of observation and analysis. When we tell this to the mind, we at least give that much scope. When the mind tells this to the brain, we give that much scope for the brain to look back and to stand the chance at controlling that trigger that first initially set up in terms of pulling the optimism down and allowing the pessimism to rise, by giving a chance and allowing analysis to come and keep the optimism afloat and keep the pessimism under control. Using this small conversation, we can bring this energy of anxiety under our control. If there are any comments or if there are any doubts, please let us know and we can talk about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you.